Well, in today's broadcast, I'm really going out on a limb here to share what's truly going on in society. Because look, if I don't be very blunt with you guys about what's going on, we're never going to get it fixed and we're never going to have a solution. And the truth of the matter is we have been taken over on every single aspect. And right now, the Democrats are really vouching to win the 2024 election. And they're doing everything in their power to make that happen, by the way. However, if they don't succeed, they absolutely have a plan B in place. And they've already got it in place and they've been working on it for years. And I'm going to reveal some of that plan in today's broadcast. And like I said, I'm going on a limb here, but it is about saving our country, our republic that they like to call a democracy, and democracy is under attack. You know, quite frankly, we've lost the republic a long time ago. I hate to say it, but I really want to just reveal how tyrannical their agenda is, because the bottom line is there's a lot of Kamala Harris supporters out there who are blindly following her because the mainstream media is out there saying, hey, look, vote for Kamala. She's a joyful candidate, without even giving like a reason why they should vote for her. Her policies have been very sparse, and the ones that have come out are downright socialist in their very nature, like price caps on food and all of that. And quite frankly, that leads to nothing but breadlines. It's scary. The fact that she wants massive taxes implemented, and that should stop everyone in their tracks, especially in the economic state that we're now in. Yet it's not. So that's why I'm shocked when you see these videos out there, and there's a lot of shall we say, you know, Instagrammers and TikTokers and conservatives out there who are filming people asking them, hey, Trump or Harris? And pretty much 90% of the people who are for Kamala Harris don't know why they're voting for her. And it's because the mainstream media is out there saying, vote for her. She's joyful. She's brat. She's funny. She's a likable candidate. Because this is really all they have with Kamala Harris. And the brainwashing is really what is doing this country in. And I've got a lot to share with you, but I want to kick it off with this first, because it's important. It's important to finish the rest of the broadcast. Now, this is a young man, right, who a while back in 2016, and I'm going to just play this. He took his shirt off, and I'm not going to put the sound on, but you can see it. He took his shirt off right there, and it says Trump sucks on his shirt. He's wearing his pants, and he went across the NBA finals there with that on his chest. Well, fast forward to now, 2024. This is the same young man, his Vitality the GOAT, and he publishes this, right? Back in 2016, I used to be a never Trumper. And he says this, honestly, I don't know why. And I'm going to get back to that. But he goes, I even streaked the NBA finals with Trump sucks written across my chest. Living in LA had me brainwashed, believing he was a racist, and he's not. Now, I fully endorse Trump to be the next president of the United States. He is the only man capable for the job. Strong borders, lower crime, and surging economy is what we need. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. And of course, I'm going to heart that. But you can see he was Trump sucks in 2016, 2024, he's endorsing Trump. But what I want to hone in on is the reasons why, right? And this is, I want to tell you guys this because we can use this when we're speaking to Democrats, who, by the way, they don't even know that their party's been taken over by radical progressives and socialists. They have no idea. They still think it's the RFK Democrats back in the day, so to speak. But he says two things. I don't know why I voted for Trump. And a lot of the people, I don't know why I never liked Trump, he says. I just didn't like him. I don't really have a reason why. I just didn't. You know, I was brainwashed. And that is, I think, a good majority. I would say probably 65%, and I'm guessing here, of the people, maybe I would even take that higher, who are voting for Kamala Harris. They don't know really why they're voting for Kamala. They just know they can't vote for Donald Trump because he's racist and misogynistic and whatever term they've got stuck in their head. And mainstream media plays the same lines on all the channels. And that's how you really brainwash a society. You play the same thing on 10 different channels. MSNBC, ABC, New York Times, LA Times are all printing the same stuff. Less Fox News, which is really falling in that direction, right? So I think 60 to 70% of Democrats are just voting for Kamala Harris, and they don't know why. And it's these brainwashing techniques that we have to start waking people up to. Hey, what about the policies? Yeah, he says stupid stuff. I get it. Donald Trump can say really stupid stuff, but that's not why I'm voting for him. I'm voting for him because he can fix the country, and I believe that he can, right? So we have to start getting more people like Vitality the Goat who wake up to the truth of what's going on and get that brainwashing out of their mind. You got to really ask, why are you voting for Kamala? What is the policy? Because I just want to know, maybe you can convince me, wink and a nod, right? Whatever. But what is the policies? And they have no answer. So we have to start waking them up to that. Now, on top of that, they're really going after our Constitution, the Bill of Rights there, our elections, and the First Amendment on top of it. But if we lose those, we lose everything our entire country stands for. And I'm going to get into that. But before I do, please get to restrictedrepublic.com. Look, I created this because they are attacking us like crazy. Right now, they're going after X. They're going after Telegram. They're arresting people for that, for their right to speak freely, because they're attacking our First Amendment. And I created this to kind of get away from all of that. And Justice Knight is on there as well as myself. We've got some bombshell reports that are exclusive to that platform. But get to restrictedrepublic.com, subscribe there. And right now, in light of what I'm going to be talking about, use the coupon code INDEPENDENCE and get it for $4 per month for those first 2 years. You can cancel whenever you want, by the way, but get there and join us and get some of that critical information that you're missing here on YouTube. Now, with that, let me show you some pretty shocking articles that have been published throughout just the past 2 years-ish. 2 years. We're just going to go back 2 years. But I want to show you how radical and how bad it is, because this is their plan B to make the Constitution not so sacred anymore. It's an old document that needs revised, right? And go after the election. They're actually calling for getting rid of the Electoral College. This is something that Democrats have called for a while. And then, of course, our freedom of speech. And if you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have anything, right? But take a look. This is on the New York Times, and I want you just to see how bold these people really are. The New York Times, the Constitution is sacred. Is it also dangerous? Question mark. One of the biggest threats to American politics might be the country's founding document. The biggest threat to democracy is the Constitution. They really just said that. And they absolutely mean what they say. Otherwise, they wouldn't print it, right? But that's the thing. The Constitution is the only thing that's kept our country free and different from all the other countries around the world. And they're going to call it outdated, old, and useless. And a threat, again, not just a threat, one of the biggest threats to Americans' politics, not democracy, they say that's what they use, but to our American politics. Seriously. In fact, I want you to listen to this law school dean who tells MSNBC just that. Take a listen to what he says here. I'm going to start about the 19-second mark.
Joining us now is Dean Erwin Chemerinsky. His new book is titled No Democracy Lasts Forever: How the Constitution Threatens the United States. Dean Chemerinsky, thanks for being with us this morning. So how, in your view, does the Constitution that this country was built on and has been for nearly 250 years is a threat, actually, to the country?
Choices that were made in adopting the Constitution have come to haunt us. The Electoral College increasingly is choosing the president who lost the popular vote. 2 senators per state is undermining democracy. In the last session of Congress, there were 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republican senators, but the 50 Democratic senators represented 42 million people.
Anyway, I'm going to stop this guy because he really gets on my nerves. He wants to scrap the Constitution. In his case, he's calling it basically a threat to democracy. So there it is. One says it's a threat to, well, politics, America politics. The other, it's to democracy. There's that key word again. And speaking of elections, he's like, oh, let's get rid of everything that, we've been doing for years on end. Can't have 2 per state. That's just, But you know who's echoing that very sentiment? Again, the mainstream media. Take a look at this. This is on the New York Times as well. It's a guest essay. And by the way, I had to go, if you look at the very top of this, I had to go to the Wayback Machine to grab this because they changed the name of it because they got too much heat because it said elections are bad for democracy. Oh, there it is. Now it's not just the Constitution that's bad. It's our elections that are bad. The fact that we get to vote is somehow bad for democracy. But again, they changed it. They changed the title because they got a lot of heat. But here's what they say in the article, and I'm just going to read a short clip here. On the eve of the first debate of the 2024 presidential race, trust in government is rivaling historic lows. Officials have been working hard to safeguard elections and assure citizens of their integrity. But if we want public office to have integrity, we might be better off eliminating elections altogether. If you think that sounds anti-democratic, think again. The ancient Greeks invented democracy, and in Athens, many government officials were selected through sortition, a random lottery from a pool of candidates. In the US, we already use a version of the lottery to select jurors. What if we did the same with mayors, governors, legislators, justices, and even presidents? They're legit. This is legitimately what they're calling for in the mainstream media. Oh, let's just make it a lottery. Let's put Kamala Harris, RFK, and Trump. See which one wins. That would be. I can't even say what I want to say. But anyway. This is insane. This is their plan, regardless of who wins the election, folks. This is why I'm calling it their plan B, so to speak. Plan A, downgrade and delegitimize the Constitution. Check. People don't even value it. They're not even learning it really like they used to in the schools. Second, you got the elections. Hey, we don't need the Electoral College. Let's just do a lottery for a president. Why not just call us, I don't know, Iraq or Iran, where everything's kind of like done for them, right? These are communist policies. But look, none of those can fully be accomplished unless they get rid of our free speech. Hey, there's an article on the mainstream media about that too. Here it is. The New York Times, the First Amendment is out of control. Yeah. Literally, the New York Times is saying there, we don't need a First Amendment. You can't, they don't, forget that freedom of speech. And I know we all know the First Amendment, but for the liberals listening out there, I want to throw this up. Our First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. Think that's kind of important. Oh, prohibiting the free exercise of it. That is too. Abridging the freedom of speech or press or the right of people to assemble and to petition the government for their grievances. That's all kind of very important in the First Amendment. But hey, according to the New York Times, those rights are out of control. I thought these were supposed to be for the people. Well, they're not. They're now controlled by globalist deep state agents, if you will. That's who's controlling the mainstream media. Owned by what? 6 big networks, I think it is. I don't know if that's still the case. But we know that they're not for the people. They are the mouthpiece of the State Department. That's what they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying things like, your First Amendment is bad. You mean the thing that gives us the right to speak? Speaking of, right now, over, and I brought this up, Brazil is cutting off free speech from their population. Here's this, yahoo.com. Brazil's ex-users will be fined $9,000 a day if they use a VPN to access it. And that is because the Brazilian president started blocking social media platform X amid a dispute with Elon Musk. And that's NPR. And it's not just a dispute, folks. It's because Elon Musk refused to censor his political opposition. That's literally what this is about. Elon says, I'm not going to censor those people you don't like their view of. So he goes, you know what? We're going to bring this to court. I'm going to start fining people, and we're closing off X to Brazil. Literally, that's what happened. And what's crazy is their cabinet members, Brazilian President Lula's political party, is still posting on X, even though the people are banned. Take a look at this. This is Dodge Designer, who's the one that pointed it out. Brazil President's Lula political party is still posting on X despite suspension orders. Is the ban only for the public and not politicians? Are they using a VPN? Are they going to be fined per the orders? And you can see some of the posts here on X. For them, yeah. For you, no. It's kind of odd, right? Think this can't happen in America, I want you to listen to what Miss Kamala Harris said very clearly. Take a listen.
Religious, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Ooh, ooh, that has to stop. I have a big middle finger I want to put up. I don't know. This is insane. And she makes it sound like, oh, it's just out of control. And the average Democrat listening is like, yeah, that sounds good. No, it doesn't. You don't have freedom of speech unless it's all free, unless you're allowed to say things that people don't like. Freedom of speech wasn't created to protect good things that you say. It was created to protect those ugly things that you say that maybe somebody doesn't want to hear. That's why we put it in the Constitution and the First Amendment. Very important to society. And here she is acting like we have to have the same rules for, look, first of all, the government's not supposed to be dictating rules to social media sites, but she's obviously all for that, just like the Brazilian guy, right? She's all for it. And then here she is saying we need to put controls down. Well, what exactly are those controls, Mrs. Harris? We've learned what those are because Facebook even came out and exposed them. Hopefully you guys watched Justice Knight's report that he did here yesterday, right? Oh, and they're things like you can't say certain things about the election. You can't say certain things about COVID. You can't say certain things about back then Hunter Biden's laptop. Censorship has nothing to do with what she's trying to make it out in that video. And that's why we have to start waking up Democrats to that. What is it that they're censoring? But the sad truth is there's Democrats that are literally okay with that. Here's a young man, by the way, Robert Reich. Elon Musk is out of control. Here's how to rein him in. He's literally calling for his arrest. Here's he says 6 ways we can rein in Elon Musk just because he dares to have free speech on his platform. Boycott Tesla. Advertisers should boycott X. Regulators around the world should threaten Musk with arrest. Just like they arrested Pavel in France. This is Robert Reich. Now, I don't care for the guy. And he goes on to say other things, taxing him and everything else, and having the FTC take him down. But this is insane. These are full-blown communists who are doing this. In fact, Elon Musk even called it out, and rightly so. Censorship is a certainty if Democrats win. He's absolutely right on that. Absolutely right. Now, in conclusion to this report, I really want to end with this because I think this is important. Again, they can be won over, just like this guy, right? They don't know the policies. They don't really know what they're voting for. They hear Trump and they close their ears. The best way to win them over, I think, is don't make it about Kamala and Trump. Take them out altogether. So here's what Kamala wants to, here's what one side wants to do for taxes. Hey, are you for price caps on grocery stores? Are you against? Are you for massive taxes, say capital gains tax? Or are you against? Are you for an open border or a closed border? And what does that border mean to you? Are you for paying massive amounts of money to illegal immigrants or not? Are you for giving them $150,000 like they're doing in California as a payment and not here in the United States? You can even throw abortion in there, right? Like Donald Trump, he says it's up to the states to decide. Kamala Harris wants full term, right? At least that's what we're getting at. And you can ask them questions on that because Trump, I think he's more at like a midway point with abortion. He's not against it. And he's pro the homosexual community. Both sides are all for them getting married. So that's a thing that's on both tickets. But you know what I mean? Like we have to start talking about the economy. Do you know for the economy, what are you for and what are you against? And I think we can win people based off the policies. And then you could suddenly reveal whose side they actually agree with more. And then tell them at the end whether it's Trump or Kamala, if you get my drift. Use the policies, especially the taxing policies that she has. She's going to kill our country with that. The mass amnesty plan that she has, she's going to kill our country, right? Change the voting system. Getting rid of the electoral college. Is this something that you're wanting to vote for? Packing the Supreme Court? Like, look at the policies, and then you might shock a Democrat to find out they don't actually align with Kamala. And that's the way you have to do it. Leave Trump and Kamala out of it. Base it off the policies, and then reveal whose side they're really on, right? Anyhow, I love you guys. And this is just a huge warning from my heart because there's a lot going on. And I know Labor Day is tomorrow. So I hope you guys have an amazing Labor Day. I'm probably taking the day off. But with that, don't forget to check out Restrictive Republic. Get there, use that coupon code Independence, get it $4 per month for the first 2 years. But go there and really get the real news on what's going on. I really hope to see you at Restrictive Republic. Anyhow, I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.